Can you please come forward? While he's coming forward, let me tell you about our next inductee. He invented touchtone dialing. While working at Bell Labs, touchtone signaling revolutionized the design and operation of the entire public switched telephone network. Each dialing digit was represented by a combination of two tones. The uniqueness of the sound allowed for faster, more reliable signaling across a wider network and laid the groundwork for a broad new set of automated telephone services. Dr. Leo Schenker.
Well, you may not believe it, but it's 50 years since touchtone dialing was introduced to the public, roughly at the time of the New York World's Fair. But the story started about 7 or 8 years earlier than that, with the introduction of the printer's telephone, which most of you don't know anything about. It was a small telephone, and when people dialed, it fell off the desk. So it was decided that we really needed something other than a dial for the user to communicate with the machine, and push buttons were the answer. But the group I was in decided that this also provided an opportunity to change the signals that went from the telephone to the central office and perhaps beyond. Because if those signals were in the speech range, 300 to 3000 hertz, then they could go anywhere that speech went and could be used to communicate not only with the central office, but with devices beyond that. The main issue was that the signals had to be of a nature that they could not be readily imitated by voice or music while the customer was dialing. And the answer turned out to be that each push-button signal, each touchtone signal, had to consist of two frequencies rather than one, and also such that they were not readily imitated by speech or music. We got pretty close to the answer until we found out that the human beings that would most readily imitate those signals were children. And I happened to have one, so I got him to recite nursery rhymes to me. He was 6 years old, and I would determine whether what he said would be misinterpreted by the central office, and then make the appropriate changes to avoid that. And basically, that ended up to be the touchtone system. Thank you very much.